All right, hello everybody. How is everyone doing? How's everyone doing? All right. Thank you for the very warm introduction, and thank you for the nice introduction. Yeah. So as I stand here today, I want to ask everyone one question to begin with. I want to ask everyone, what changed your life? When I say, or when I mention something or factors that create change in your lives, what are the first things that pop into your mind? Anyone? Just shout it out. Shout it out. Come on, guys. High school, yes. Yes. Okay, yeah. So friends, yeah. Yes. So, yes. So there are definitely a lot of great factors, many factors within our lives that did indeed impact our lives truly. And for me, when I'm asked this question, I always thought of things that changed my everyday routine. For example, I could possibly go home right now and turn on a computer. Well, then I run Microsoft Windows. So I think of Bill Gates, who changed my life by reinventing the idea of computing and made it accessible for me to do my work and to complete all those assignments that I need to do. Or I could think of people such as, or I may go on the internet actually, and go on Facebook and Twitter. And I think of people such as Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the internet and completely revolutionized the way that we really communicate with each other, and we work and we play. So these are definitely great changes that impact our lives, but there's something that they all have in common. The factors that we've all mentioned are external factors. The factors that exist within our environment, such as the people around us, or like the values that our society holds us to. And these are the things that, the change in our lives come from these impacts. And that is very true. And external things really do impact our lives. But they're not the only things that do make a change in our lives. In fact, they only make up a small portion of the things that change our lives. Because much like this dot here on this sheet of paper. I'm not sure if anyone could actually see it, but it's pretty small, as you can see, compared to the whiteness of the space. So what is the rest of the space, you could ask me? Well, these are the changes that occur every day within our own minds, the internal changes that occur. And so I'm going to put that down for now. So what are these changes? Well, they're the changes within our perspective. So now you may be asking, what do I mean by that? Well, everything in life, that means every experience that we experience, or every experience that we go through, every person that we meet, and everything that we do has both a positive and a negative side to it. Because nothing is absolute in nature, and not objectively at least. But what our brains, what our minds tend to do is that we tend to only focus on one aspect of these thoughts, or one aspect of events, and to only look at it either positive or negative. And that, in turn, sort of influences the ideas and the thoughts in our minds to be one-sided. But you can see how that could be problematic, because the more we focus on one tiny bit, the more we miss the larger picture. We don't see the whole picture anymore. And that could be reflected within our own lives, because we are essentially made of the thoughts that we internalize. Everything that or our fundamental or beliefs, our actions, our emotions stem out of the ideas that we hold ever so deeply within our minds, within our brain. And so essentially what we believe in, what we think, we become. And this could be problematic, especially when that thought of yours is a negative thought, because such as a thought that we might not be capable at something. For example, if it's the athletics, the academics, or the arts. And this thought might not be true objectively, because you might be very capable at this, whatever you think that you're not good at. You might be very capable at it, but if you hold that idea so deeply within your own brains, you hold the idea that you're not good at it, then your brain will shape your actions, your beliefs, your thoughts to really fit that idea and to make it true, much like a self-fulfilling prophecy, in a sense. I'm sure you all heard of that. You have all heard of that in English class, self-fulfilling prophecies. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so yes, of course. So, and the worst part of all this is the fact that once you've done this, once you've thought of the idea, and then your brain shapes your actions to be like so, the end result that you've experienced, you might not indeed perform poorly compared to everyone else, or perform poorly compared to your expectations, because your brain realized this idea that you had in your mind. And that further really reinforced your previous belief that you're not good in the first place. And this happens in a negative feedback loop, and it just cycles and cycles again. because I know this fact because I personally experienced this myself. Because for all of those who know me really well, know that in middle school and early on in high school, I was probably not the most confident student. In fact, that was probably an overstatement. I absolutely had no confidence in myself, especially in English class. Because as an immigrant who moved here when I was 8 years old, I didn't really know a single word when I came here. Or maybe, okay, fine, maybe I knew the yes and the hello and the no, but I promise nothing else. So yeah, because you pick those up when you're young, right? But nothing else. So when I was put into my grade 3 class, what happened to me was that I wasn't able to communicate with my classmates nor my teachers. I wasn't able to answer the questions that the teachers posed, or communicate with my classmates, or have fun, or to socialize with them on the playground. And that really, in turn, had a profound impact on me because I was a very social person at the time, and this exclusion factor really made me sort of timid in self, which is different than my true characters, and really put in my mind the idea that I was not capable at this at English, the idea that I am not capable of communicating myself, and that I will never be capable of communicating myself to others. And this this worsened when I went into middle school, when I got into grade 6 and went into the enhanced stream. I see quite a few people I met here. Yeah, right. So when I was in grade 6, what happened was that in the enhanced stream, everyone expects you to be good at every subject. That includes math, English, and sciences, etc. But I was never good at English. And my teacher even told me that I was not good in English. And that they told me that the only factor, or the only reason why I got into the enhanced stream was because of math. Yeah, I guess, it was true, because I barely passed my English exam for the CCAT, and they actually showed me the score, which is pretty depressing at times. And it was true. And then I didn't do so well in English when I was in grade 6 or 7. And I constantly got poor marks on my projects. And that further reinforced my thought that I was not good at English, that I was not able to communicate with others, and that I never will be able to communicate with others. And but one thing that also occurred during these middle school years was the fact that I became better at English, that I really did develop my skills, and as slowly, day by day, I became more capable of communicating myself in this new language. But I wasn't able to see that because throughout this process of getting better, I also stumbled along the way. And my brain focused and really lashed on these mistakes rather than the strength or seeing the big picture. Because it's much easier for your brain to see things that really support its theory than evidence that contradicts it. And it's something called confirmation bias. I'm sure that many students here understand that, especially if you're psychology students. Yeah, psychology. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's confirmation bias, and it's really true. And perhaps one of the biggest evidence that I really stumbled upon was the fact that, was at the end of grade 8 rather, the fact that I didn't really get into IB. I applied and I was waitlisted. And because back then, an essay was all it took for you to really, or for you to apply, and all that the examiner had of you, sorry, I apologize for the time, and so all the examiners had of you, what that imprinted into my mind is that my essay was terrible, and that I was never able to communicate in that sense. And that really put me down. I further fueled my thought that I was not able to communicate, and that I was never able to communicate with others. But eventually I did go into IB, and I got in on the waiting list. But what I thought when I got in grade 9 and 10 was that I was the worst compared to all my friends at English, because the evidence showed me so. And because of this, English became really stressful for me. It became a really stressful subject because I know that I try to work hard and I really try to push myself to do well in it, but I wasn't able to do so. Or I thought that I wasn't able to do so. And because of that, every assignment, every written task, every oral presentation was really painful for me, and it was a nightmare. And I do apologize for all English teachers in the room, but I absolutely hated English at that time. I did. It was the truth. I did. I did eventually, or in the beginning of this year, actually. That's when my perspective changed on my English abilities, because that's when a really wonderful friend of mine came forward to me and they realized the differences between my subjective and between my subjective opinion on my English abilities and the objective truth of what it really was. And they asked me to really change my perspective and to look at the bigger picture. And I still remember that conversation really deeply in my mind, so it really deeply touched me. And from that night, I went home and I really thought, I looked at all my projects from grade 9 and 10, my English projects, and I really thought, and I really forced myself to analyze both my strengths and my weaknesses on the subjects, on the assignments, and not just the weaknesses alone. And I began to reevaluate my English abilities. I began to see that I was somewhat capable of this new language, and that I was able to express myself. And that thought completely changed me because believing now that I am somewhat capable of communicating with others and communicating with my peers and teachers, I began to enjoy English class. I began to really enjoy writing for the purpose of writing and not for the purpose of just completing an assignment like I did before. And that changed my life. In fact, for me to stand up here today and do a gifted talk, and thank you for this opportunity, but for me to stand up here today really took that change in perspective, because me last year would never have thought that I was able to communicate this idea to you, a wonderful audience. Give yourself an applause. Yeah. And indeed. And as for a friend of mine, I just would like to say thank you, because you truly impacted me, and words cannot express my gratitude. Thank you. So now, in the end, I would like to, so what is the moral of the story? Why did I just stand here and tell you a story of my life? Yeah. But what is the moral of the story? Well, I want you to see that perspective and a changing perspective can be a really big thing. Can be a really life-changing event, even though the idea of changing a perspective might just seem like something that happens every other day, and something that's very sort of negligible. Yeah. Yeah. See, I wasn't good at English. See, all right. I hate the pronunciation. Yeah. Okay. So, and I want you to see that by changing this perspective, you're able to, and when you see the whole picture, you can often see the things that you've missed in life. Such as for me, I missed all of my strength in English, and I missed all of the opportunities and all of the joy of the joy of language, this language itself, because of my adamant beliefs. And through changing that, I was able to discover the whole light of English, and that truly changed me in life. So in the end, a change in perspective can really change the way we act, the way we sort of perceive things, which can really change our lives, and that in turn can change the world, has the potential to change the world. Because if we believe that we can change the world, that we will eventually do change the world. So ending off with a quotation, I'll leave you with a quotation. And this is a quotation that I got from a very famous TV show that I really enjoyed. And that basically goes that everyone is happy in life, but often that happiness exists in someone else's eyes. So think about that quotation. So I want to add to it, and I want to say that so if that happiness exists in someone else's eyes, why don't we change our perspective and see our own happiness with our very own eyes? Thank you very much.